Newspapers equal better genealogy, and free newspapers, it's even better. So let's talk today about how to improve your family history and find family members and maybe even some pictures of them in newspapers. And we're going to be doing it free on Chronicling America. I would like to add in that this isn't just for genealogists. If you're a historian and you're wanting to do some research, you really need to be checking out Chronicling America. There's some big changes with Chronicling America. They are in a beta testing now of a new format to their site. And so today we're going to talk about the differences between the two sites, how to navigate the new site. But one of my favorite features of Chronicling America, the historical newspaper database, is not available on the new site. You have to go somewhere totally different. So today we're going to talk about all of this stuff, how to better use newspapers to find your family through Chronicling America, which is a part of the Library of Congress, okay? So, my name is Aimee Cross, and I am here to help you take your genealogy to the next level, and this is going to make a big difference. FYI, there is a handout for this video. It's going to go over all of the different ins and outs of Chronicling America. There's always stuff in my handouts that I don't cover in my videos. You can get the handout either by purchasing on my Etsy page, or you can join Aimee's crew as part of my YouTube channel as a YouTube membership. You get the handout for free, plus we do a monthly live stream, and then you get access to my entire members-only live stream library. Now, before we hit some of these jewels that a lot of people don't even know about, we're just going to go over generally the site. So this is the old site. This is what is still available. If you type in chroniclingamerica.loc.gov, then you will hit this site. How do you even get to the beta site? Okay, right here we're going to talk about this, and it isn't very obvious. Visit the new website right here. And the new website looks like this. This is in beta testing, as noted right here. First, they'll tell you about this collection, and there's some great links right here. And if I wanted to search, I would hit collection items. So when you're on your page, you can search by your keywords, which could be a surname, and I'm going to put in Kinsley. Now, right here, you can choose any of the words, this exact phrase, these words within 5 words of one another, or these words within 10 words of one another. You can select the state that you want this family to be found in. And in my family, that would be in Wisconsin. So I'm going to click Kinsley's in Wisconsin. And I can't select the counties here. This is the thing that's really weird. You're going to see, I can select it later. But I can add a field. I can add another search function like any of these words or something, or this exact phrase as well. All right, so you can add an additional field if you want to. Now, I can choose an ethnicity. Like if they were German, I can be looking for German papers. I generally do that later. I don't do that now. And then I can put a date. Now, for the dates, I have to put in a specific start date, and I don't really like that. I want to do it differently later. I'm going to show you how I do that as well. So let's just start with the search of Kinsley's in Wisconsin. I'll still have this stuff up at the top, but now I'll have my results. And what I like is they've added in this here on the left-hand side. As I go down here, I will see the different papers that I'm finding results in with how many results are in each paper. But it's over here that I can narrow my dates. And instead of putting my date choices above, I prefer now to put them down below because it's easier. I don't like having to put in an exact date and month. Now, if I were looking for an obituary and I knew when somebody died, then I may want to put in more specific date features. And then that feature up here at the top, that start and end date, could be extremely valuable. Now it's here that I can narrow down the county or even the city. I can choose languages. There's 23 German papers here. So if I were to select this, then I'm going to get a new screen with the results of just those papers written in German. Now, if I select one of these papers, I can see the name of the paper and its publishing date. And then I have a couple of options, and some of this is new compared to what was done before. I can see the image, and I have function keys to zoom in or out. I can get the full page by clicking on that button. I can rotate the page if for some reason I need to do that. I can expand it to full screen, or I can clip a portion of the page. So I can clip right here. This is going to then allow me, if I clip that image, I'm going to open into a new screen, and then I can download that clipping. There's 4 pages in this particular newspaper, and I can choose which page I would like to go to, or I can just move back and forward by page, or I can move back and forward by issue, or I can click here and see all of the issues that this paper published. Each highlighted date is a newspaper. They weren't publishing on Sundays. And I can change the years right here. Pretty cool. But the About This newspaper is kind of interesting. This is a new thing. This talks a little bit more about the different stats of the paper, that when it was published, and some other notes and information about this paper. I mean, I love this. This includes now maps and other things of Milwaukee that may be of interest to me that are held at the Library of Congress. So this new site is really amazing. Now we're back at the newspaper site looking at the issue where my family is included. And if I zoom in here, I see that their name is highlighted, but there's a few other things that are here now. Now I can go to the image with text. And I can scroll down to where I find my surname Kinsley here, and it's highlighted. And now I can highlight this information right here. I'll start here, and I'm going to just scroll down and highlight the information where my Kinsleys are, and then I'm going to right-click that and copy that. So now if I open up a new screen and go to Google Translate, I can paste the information that I got from that document, and I can note that this is in German, and then it will translate it to English. And this is amazing because this talks about an ensign by the name of Kinsley who took possession of a prize. There was some kind of a battle going on here, and he is the son of a Milwaukee native, Mr. Henry Kinsley, who is a relation to me. And it talks more about the fact that Henry Kinsley is the eldest of 3 sons. Wow, isn't this amazing? Now I'm going to make it even better. If I put this into ChatGPT, I can create a new message, translate to English the following, and let's see what they've got. And this has also translated it as well. And then I could manipulate this in other ways into ChatGPT. I could summarize the article. But if your family are immigrants, this is huge. Now I can go back to the search results, and this takes me back to my Kinsley search results. Remember, I had narrowed down that I wanted German-speaking papers. I can also look for first page articles. Now I'm going to take off the German so that now I'm including the English papers as well. Now I've got a new page here. We see that I'm still in newspapers. I still have this entire time period in effect, and the different counties and the different cities. But as I scroll down now past the German, I can see subjects. So if I click more subjects, then I see there's 37 different subjects that they've noted that those articles pertain to. How could this subject list be helpful for you? Well, if your family perhaps was the victim of a crime, you might see that listed in here. This family was Germans. That could be in here. Perhaps your family was involved in a particular event, and you can search by that event. That might be listed in here. But one of the other things that I really love is that we're seeing a lot of towns here. And one of the things that frequently happened with obituaries is somebody may have passed away, maybe visiting one of their children, but in a completely different location. But the obituary will mention that they're a native of this particular town. And so you know that if your family, for instance, resided in Dodge, then I might want to narrow down the newspapers that mention Dodge in the subject matter as well. It just gives you more ways to filter your results. Now, if I take the keywords out and don't search for anything, when I scroll down, I'll see everything that's in their collection, which includes over 25 million pages of newspaper content. I see the various titles and I can see all of them. I can see the dates published. Now, this is important to note. I see that we have newspapers between the times of 1750 to 1969. So if you're looking for anything prior to 1750, which there probably wasn't very much published before then, you're not going to find it here. And these only go to 1969. So if you're looking for a later paper, you need to go elsewhere. I have to say that I used to prefer newspapers.com to Chronicling America because it was easier to search. But with the new advances in this new website, they've closed the gap quite a bit. And there's a lot of things that are pretty slick on this new site. I will say, though, there are newspapers that are on newspapers.com that are not on Chronicling America or on some of the other newspaper websites. But Chronicling America does have some papers that are not in other places as well. So it's important that you can keep that in mind and that you check all of your newspaper websites. Now, I want to take you back to the original page because that has something in it that I kind of like better. I don't like how they've kind of changed this newspaper directory. A lot of people are not aware of this U.S. newspaper directory, and it is absolute gold. If I click on that, you'll see that you can search by newspaper title or by the location or by when it was published. And it's amazing. You could even search by newspaper language. This is so helpful. This is not just the newspapers that they have digitally. This is a database of newspapers that are held at libraries throughout the country. And it's been invaluable in my research, particularly when I'm doing early American research, because I want to know where these little random newspapers are, because that was where I find things sometimes. It is available on the new website. And so I'm not going to spend time showing you how to navigate this site to get to them. I want to show it to you on the new website. So when you're on the new site, you've got to be on the About This Collections, and then you scroll down and you want to go to the directory of U.S. newspapers in American libraries. Now, this will first tell you about this collection, kind of like the other site did. And then you can go to collection items. It's very similar in that regard. And now I can search by a keyword like I did when I was searching before. But this is a different type of thing. I'm not looking for an individual when I'm looking in this directory of U.S. newspapers. But generally when I'm using this database, I'm going to search by location, all right? So I can search by language right here or by ethnicity. But I really want to encourage you to search by state and province. So like if I go to Delaware, I can't search the county here. Now I can click search and then I can narrow down my search by county. Kind of weird. Instead, I might want to just use these over here on the side. Now I can search by a date period, but before I even narrow that down, I want to search by country. And now you'll see here that while this is a United States site, it does have some other country papers. So I'm going to narrow this down by state, and I want to narrow it down to Delaware. Now they put this in order of how many papers they have. So Delaware doesn't have as many, so I'm going to go over here to Delaware. Now I'm looking at Delaware papers. And I can sort them by title or I can sort them by date. Now this is in brief format. I can do it in grid or in a gallery or a list view. The brief is definitely much quicker. A list viewing gives me more information about the newspaper. I think some of this may still kind of be in process because it hasn't always worked for me. But this at least shows you a little bit more of the information about the newspaper. Now, if I want to narrow down now by date, I can see that in Delaware, I've got these dates to work for and the number of publications within those dates. I can also here narrow it down by county. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to narrow it down to Kent County. Now it's refreshed and I'm looking at newspapers in Kent County. And I can select one of these newspapers and I can look at the information that they have regarding this newspaper. Now this says that it was a weekly newspaper and it says that its succeeding title was the Smyrna Call. Now if you're familiar with the other site, we would have a link to the libraries that I could obtain it, and I don't see that here, but it's there. It's up here at the top. Go to libraries that have it. And then it directs me to WorldCat, where I can go to WorldCat and see which libraries have those issues. Now, I don't like this as well because I don't know what issues they have. Now, let's try this with a different paper and you'll see how it can kind of function differently. It's kind of weird. So if I go down to this Delaware Republican, and I look through here, I don't see a succeeding or preceding title. I can go here to the libraries that have it. And now I am seeing something similar to what I was seeing before on the previous website where I see which library has which issues. Now we note here it says that there's digitized content available for this paper. We have a description of the paper at the top, which I really like a lot. One of the things too that I love here is that they say that how much it costs, $2 a year for a subscription to this paper. So fun. But if I want to view this digitally, it's in a different place. I need to go over here to availability, and then I click on that and I will see the digital copies on Chronicling America. I do want to point out one other really exciting thing. If you scroll down here, they also have exploring the collection with an interactive map and timeline, which so many people overlook. This is really cool. So if we go here, we'll see this amazing map of the United States. And this tells you a description and information about this map. You can take a look at that right up here. And I can go home, I can zoom in. But what I want you guys to take a look at right now is if I zoom in and I go to like Nebraska and choose a newspaper, it's going to show me this particular newspaper. Now, this is just the papers that are digital, okay? This isn't every paper that was ever published in the United States. But this might really help you kind of get a feel for where specifically a paper was located. I just love this. I think it's really cool, and it's completely overlooked. I didn't even know about it for a really long time. I love being able to look at something on a map. I'm a very visual person, so this is pretty cool. Now, when I scroll down to these other places where we found that directory of U.S. newspapers that we just talked about a few minutes ago, if I go here to the reading room, then I have an opportunity to see some additional things, including some featured collections. And I would note that you want to take a look at these additional collections, and you're going to see some really amazing collections. If you descend from Japanese Americans that may have been interned during World War II, this will take you just to a collection of papers. Wow, this is amazing. Now, one of the other freaky things about the differences between the two sites, this is really weird and I'm hoping they get it all fixed, is there's another little awesome place to go that isn't listed on the new page, and it's actually a new feature, but you can find it on the old page. All right, here's the old page, and if you scroll down, you can go to Newspaper Navigator. All right, so if you click on Newspaper Navigator, this is an AI program where they have been looking at the photographs and accompanying captions. There's over 1.5 million photographs that have been included in this research group now. You can take a look at this video where the innovator that did it talks about it, all right? And it gets pretty technical, but let me give you a rundown of how this works. You can search by somebody's surname, because if it's in, and even by their first name if you wanted to, if it's in a newspaper, then, and it's in their caption, then you may find them. And this gives me some of the information that was in that paper. And here we see F.G. Grimes. Say I want to learn more about this. So I can either download the image right here, or I can view the full image right here. So I'm going to do that in a new screen. And now I'm seeing that full image. And it was this picture that we were looking at. So now I can look at the image as well as any text or articles around it. I can also click FYI, learn about this newspaper, where I will then go to the paper page on Chronicling America, and I can get a citation that I can clip, which is basically the web page. Now, if I save all of these papers to my collection, and then I go up here to the top and click Save, now I can go to my collection up here at the top, and now I see all these papers that I saved, which is pretty amazing. Now, one of the other things that you can do is train the AI navigators. And what that will do is allow me to kind of narrow my search down. But if you check out the video on the main page, he goes into that into more detail and shows an example of that, which could be helpful to you. I hope you really enjoy exploring Chronicling America, its old site and its new beta site, as well as Newspaper Navigator. I can't wait to hear what you find. If you find something great, put it in the video comments. I'd love to hear about that. If you have other newspaper sites that are your favorites, please put that in the comments as well to share that with other people. And then finally, I'd like to include the video that I was talking about before right over here that has the newspaper search techniques that may be of help to you. You can check out that video right there. As well as up top is a link to the Etsy page where you can get that handout. It's also in the video description below. So thank you so much. Have a great day.